So I have now coded with Raider 1 and Raider 2's code windows. And you can see that over here. I actually changed the color a little bit of Raider 2's. I darkened them. I like to do that so it makes... Oops. I like to do that over here because it makes them stand apart. You don't have to do that because they're actually labeled two different things, but I just like to for seeing it. I also rearranged the rows a little bit, so you can do that by clicking and dragging, and that just changes, you can put things next to each other to examine them. And that's what I did with the tantrum behaviors. That's our primary behavior that we'll be calculating percent agreement for. So you can see that in general, Raider 1 and Raider 2 are coding the same instances. That's good. They're all overlapping. That's very good. However, we can see the duration is a little bit off. And now I purposely didn't do this perfectly because I want you to see the calculation and how it works. But in reality, when you're coding something to consider is, like I did this quickly, you're going to want to go back, maybe pause the video, adjust the length like I've showed you before from, beginning to end. So it really represents what you think is the length of an instance happening. When it comes, you don't want to just kind of make it random, like, oh, he started that 2 seconds ago, I'm going to press it now. Sometimes I code quickly and then go back, watch, and adjust. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Also, I want to point out that last time, this hierarchy that I made here, this is by far not perfect. And I realize as you're watching the video that, like, you can be screaming and yelling and kicking at the same time. You can scream while you're throwing. So chances are you wouldn't have them turn each other off per se. I was just giving one example if you want to code the main action of the tantrum behavior. But some of you may have been wondering about that. I just wanted to show you a way to use activation and deactivation links to get a little bit more information. So for the actual iterator reliability, I'm only interested in the main code, which is tantrum behaviors. No tantrum behaviors would be used to get a length of the entire period so I could answer this question. What percentage of the time was a student throwing a tantrum? So if I added these two together, I'd get the length of the whole period, and then I could do a percentage that way. Iterator reliability only requires these tantrum behavior codes. So, I just keep clicking things. Transcription windows. Nope, don't need that open. Sorry. So what I want to do is I want to make some new rows. And I have to make sure I name them the things that I said I was going to name them. So over here, I want to know our agreed upon instances. And I need to call that agreed tantrum because that's how I scripted it. And then I want to know the total length of time that either of us had coded a tantrum. And we're going to call that row total. That's easy enough. So let's go back here and I'm going to show you how easy it is to make these two new rows. I'm in my timeline now. And we're going to create a new row. We go to Row, Create New Row, and this box will pop up. I hope you remember me doing this in the past. It's pretty simple. We need to name it what we called it in our actual script, which is agreed tantrum, so it knows what to look for. And what I want is I want all the times where our two behaviors, tantrum behaviors line up. So I want the AND command, all the times where we're coding it the same exact way. So I'm going to say, tantrum behaviors 1 and tantrum behaviors 2. And I want the AND. I want all the overlapping. This picture is really great here because it shows you what part it's going to select. So it would just select these parts here. Click Create Row. Okay, and now I have a row called Agreed Tantrum. I'm actually going to slide up and put it right under here so you can see it. There's my Agreed Tantrum. You can see this is the length of it here. All the overlapping parts. Now, to get the total length that either of us coded for the bottom, our total, we're going to use the same thing, except for we're going to use the OR command. Create New Row. Okay, and we said we would just call this total. That's how I scripted it. And we're going to pick Tantrum Behaviors 1 or... okay, tantrum behaviors 2. That's going to give us the whole length of that either of us had actually coded. So create that row. And I'm going to do the same thing. I like to slide it up just so I can see them all next to each other. So I have, here we go, the tantrum behaviors. Here's our agreed upon, and here's our total. Very easy to make new rows. Now that they're in the timeline, simple enough, when I push execute, it's going to give me my percent agreement. And I would say that 89.8, so basically 90% agreement is going to be, that's pretty decent. I can, just by looking at it, seeing that, I can see that we're mostly in agreement here. Now, had I been a little bit more careful, I probably could get that percent agreement up a little bit higher. But I was just kind of doing this for effect. So remember, it's your choice how high is acceptable for inter-rater reliability. It's a great thing to have these scripts already in there for training purposes. Let's just make sure everyone has the same operational definition when we do behavioral research.